Hi there. Welcome to Peppers and Flowers, where sales and marketing doesn't make sense. Please join us for the conversation.
James, as always, again and again and again, we do this every week. At least we try to. Um, Good morning to you, sir. How is everything?
Brilliant, man. Things are life is good. I guess my health is doing well, just staying strong. And I'm excited about business and about life right now. I think there's a lot of things to look forward to this year. I have to remind myself that we're still kind of early on in the year, and there's a lot to look forward to as we grow this year out. So I'm looking forward to a lot of new things that are going on in my company, and I feel like there's a lot of just excitement out there as far as what can be done in business and in life. So I'm optimistic, man.
Yeah, same here. Same here. And I think our code for this podcast is not to talk about a certain virus going around.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
going to
Well,
try to
we did.
just keep the mindset fresh. I think it's as dramatic as, well, I'm not going to downplay it, but I think it's just as dramatic as you want to make it personally. So we're just going to keep a good mindset today. We're just going to talk about our agenda, hopefully give some value to people and just move forward. Like that's pretty much what we can do right now. So
Amen. That's right. Perfect. So, well, I was wondering, Daniel, I know that, sometimes life can throw us some curveballs. We get into a pinch and, we wonder what to do. Maybe it's a financial struggle of sorts, or maybe it's a health issue, or just relationships, or anything in business that can maybe send us in the wrong direction. And I know oftentimes, even as entrepreneurs that have a lot of motivation, we could tend to want to just give up, or slow down a little bit, or feel a little bit under the weather. What do you think? I mean, what do you do when you're in a pinch, or when life throws you a curveball?
yeah, weird, huh? I think, well, I guess no one really knows. I feel like you discover a lot about yourself when you like push yourself forward or whatever's happening in your life and then something weird happens and then it kind of all depends on how you're going to deal with it. Um, an example I can give you is, and maybe you can relate to this, maybe a lot of people can. Do you ever have like this massive amount of motivation and you just like feed off it? It's like this like flaming fire and you're going out, you're trying to like build something or do something or get more sales or whatever it might be, right? Whatever it is in like your job or business, and like you hit it. Do you feel like your motivation like rides a little bit out of the excitement, but then it just kind of dies and then you just maybe feel like that's a curveball in a weird way. Like, how do I don't have really motivation now to like get back. I already did it. So I don't have motivation to go further because I put so much energy. I feel like my tank's empty.
Yeah, totally, man. I totally get what you're saying. I think sometimes we tend to have motivations for temporary reasons. Maybe, oh, if I, hit this goal of mine, I'll win the contest, or do something to get like a quick reward. I think when something's a little bit more permanent, like say a lifelong vision of ours or a lifelong goal, then those motivations tend to stay with us. And no matter what happens, we still stick to commitment and to perseverance. And we still strive to reach those goals. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I think sometimes, I guess there's that saying, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. And almost like, for those people who anchor themselves in a deeper motivation, they could tend to like go a little bit stronger when it gets difficult. It almost they step into that struggle and make it out better on the other side or something.
Yeah, I think it's weird. Don't I mean there's plenty of times where like I think you and I've done a few projects together And the motivation's like always I guess that's it. I think I just figured out motivation always has to be like rekindled. Like you always have to keep putting firewood on it.
Mm.
Cause I know we get like you and I were doing this one project. Trying to get all these business owners signed up, and it was working well. And then it kind of was like, it kind of flatlined a little bit. And then we were thinking, well, why don't we do this business? Why don't we do that? Try this. You want to, and we kind of had to like stop for a second and go, wait. Like, I think we're losing motivation. Like, let's put more let's put more wood on the fire to like, remember like how we felt when we first started doing this together, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like it really is like everything is a process, and it's crazy. And it kind of stresses me out a little bit, right? So to have a job wherever it is a process. You have to get hired, onboarded, trained, learn your job, then get better at your job so you can keep your job, right? It's always like each one of those steps has its own process that you always have to keep implementing, like show up on time to work. It's not just a one-time thing. You always have to keep doing that. And even like motivation, it's I guess we can agree that some people are more motivated than others just naturally. Like they just might come off as more of like a uplifting person about everything. But that's a process. Like you still have to feed that motivational fire. Um, like your skills for your job, your skills for your business, you still always have to keep that motivating. It's like every extra amount of income you get, that there's going to be that much more problems that you'll have to deal with. Like I'm making $5,000 a month. Now when you move to $25,000 a month, there's $25,000 a month problems.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, there's no accidents or coincidences. I mean, if we take on a second job or a third job or work more hours, there's no doubt that's going to cut into our lives a little bit as far as, other relationships or obligations we have. And, we all only have, 24 hours in a day and so much energy. And so we have to budget it appropriately. So, I think some of it is being wise to know that, we can't necessarily do everything all the time. We have to, tell ourselves what we could do, what we shouldn't do, and try not to take off more than we can handle. So yeah, there's got to be some wisdom on what we get ourselves involved with. And I certainly know that for sure as a business owner, sometimes it's like I want to take on another project or I want to do something else to grow the business. But then is the timing right? Do I have the energy and time to do that? These are all questions that I have to ask myself. And if it's not, then even if it's like the best idea possible, I have to put it off just for success measures. I mean, how do I succeed in other areas if I'm burning out? So I mean, I have to, like you said, keep the embers going in the fire to burn successfully, and then maybe once there's a level of success in certain areas, then you could branch off and take on more responsibilities. But to do so
Yeah.
early on is a little bit premature.
It's also hard to get completely burnt out and like feel like nothing's going right, to like get back up and keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
That's really difficult to do. Pretend you have a client base, and then all of a sudden, like, let's say you have 10 clients, right? And then all of a sudden, like 5 of them drop off. And then 2 weeks later, a few more drop off. And you're like, oh my God, what the heck just happened? So that just happened. Maybe you got one bad review for whatever reason. And just like all this bad stuff keeps happening. And then now you're just kind of like, oh my God, now I have to like figure this out. You're not prepared for it.
Hmm.
And so maybe you hit your 10 clients at first and was thinking, man, cool, I'm sitting pretty. This is great. I'm helping everyone out. Things are going great. And then you lose the clients. You feel a little burnt out because you spent so much time and effort to get the 10 clients. And then all this bad stuff started happening. And then you get a review on top of it. And so just whatever bad could happen, let's just say it does, I would say that person probably feels extremely defeated. So how would you, it's hard to go, well, look on the bright side, just get back up and keep going. You're just like, I just want to lay in bed
Right.
and cry.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we have to be honest with ourselves, and when there's a hit or there's a struggle, we have to acknowledge it, because I think if we just put blinders on and go, oh no, everything's great, we'll continually get hit in the future, and then we might even just get wounded and not even acknowledge it, and it could really cause us to have deep pain, whether it's financial or anything else. Our image in the corporate marketplace, just how people review us and things like that, those can all damage us. So I mean, we have to take measures. If it's a customer service thing and we have to reply to some of those negative reviews, then we need to do those things. If we're not paying our invoices, and so we're getting stuck with late fees, we need to figure out how can I pay this invoice. I mean, we have to take measures. So it's not that we just I don't think the solution is to put blinders on and act like nothing's wrong. We still have to acknowledge the issues that come up, I guess. But what keeps us through those difficulties to even press on is what I'm trying to get to, is that it has to come from a deep place of almost purpose and vision. Why am I a business owner? Why am I going into business to begin with? Or why did I go into business to begin with? And what's my main motivation? What's my vision for this? And if those things are in line and we're focused on those things, these kind of trials that we come across, they won't really knock us down or rock us too much.
Yeah, I agree. I just kind of, you're not going to be down on luck for forever, plus things can change on an instant. Seriously, especially in sales. Like if you're in a
Hmm.
sales position, that can change literally in 5 minutes in one phone call. Or like you go a whole day making phone calls and you don't hit your quota because you just didn't get a sale, or whatever kind of sales position you're at. But
Hmm.
then the last hour you can call the right person and it just flips and you get your sale.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden now you're just super happy and motivated again.
Right.
Things can change. Things are always temporary too.
Yeah.
Things are always temporary. And if you think about it, like, if you knew the day you would leave this earth,
Hmm.
I'm curious about this question. So if you knew the day that you would leave this earth, you don't know how, you don't know like how you die or anything like that. You just know on this day, 3 years from now, I'm going to be gone. I wonder, depending on the person, this is my opinion. I feel like it's either going to motivate them extremely to do, and they're going to start doing things that they've never done before, kind of like a bucket list thing, right? Or they're just going to work or spend more time with, they're going to do something extreme, like work more hours or quit their job, or something like that, and they're just going to live the moment and be grateful and happy. And I think the second side is going to be, people are really going to be anxious in their head, concerned, worried, sad. So one will take kind of grasp it, and then the other is going to just dwell in it. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, I'm trying to think here, because that's I mean, that's right. There's two different camps of people: the people that really dwell on it and get anxious and worrisome, and then there's the people who
Yeah.
just kind of rise above the fray and just like look at the solution side of things and
Yeah,
try
like
to figure out.
you can't necessarily know how you're going to act in that situation, but you can.
Mhm.
It's fun just to role play with it. Like, I have no idea, frankly, how I would react to that. I'd like to think I'd be the one that just takes it and just runs with it and be like, all right, I accept it. I'm moving forward. I'm making
Right.
change to my life. I want to do that. But I think because I tend to do that anyways,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I know yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of us who would say, you know what, I wouldn't change a thing. I would just keep living life the way that I live it, and just
right.
keep pressing on, you know. So so there's that group of people too who wouldn't be maybe too extreme, but they would just live life the normal way, and spend time with the people they spend time with, do the work they need to do, because they do that every day anyways, you know.
Right.
I see you as being one of those people, honestly, because like I mean, you tend to your family, you tend to your work, you take care of yourself. You know, it seems like you do it. You're a well balanced, person, and you do a good job at it. And so yeah, I mean, someone like yourself, or someone who's high performing and just caring and all the rest, they'll just live life the same. Um,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, back
yeah,
at you. I feel, and maybe people can answer this question better for you than yourself. Like
right.
I feel the same way for you. I'm like confessing my love for you or something, but no, I feel the same for you. Like you're a Christian man. You believe in your faith. You believe in what you do, your family, and I feel like in under any circumstance that might be hard to take in. Like for some reason, the day that you won't be here anymore, like that
Mm,
scenario I mentioned. I feel like you're such a grounded person and you know your purpose and your family and who you are. You're a father, you're a Christian, you're a business owner, you're this, and it's not going to change anything, right? You're like, okay, I'm still doing, I'm doing like you know what I mean?
yeah.
You're not going to, there's no panic. Like it seems like you already appreciate everything. Um, to go off what I'm just saying real quick, because I want to get your opinion on this,
Mm,
is you're already set, right? You already have your foundation. That's the goal. So people I think I said this in another podcast, and I say this every podcast. I always refer back to other ones. But
mm,
the goal is to like achieve this before you achieve anything greater, like monetary or success, whatever it is. I mean, anything.
mm.
So if you can achieve being grateful for who you are, being happy, and then everything comes after as a bonus based on what your performance and stuff, that's what you want. You don't want to try to chase your happiness or your you know as a product of success or making more money. Like and then go, "Oh, now I'm happy." Because once that's gone,
Absolutely.
you're going to be just as miserable as you were before.
Yeah, totally. I mean, honestly, yeah, I appreciate the accolades, and I'm grateful, because, like, you're right, because honestly, if I think my happiness came first. I was content as a person. I was happy as a person. I would even use the word joyful. I was joyful as a person. And then from that, then I started, fellowship sales. Then I started different things. Then I did this. Then I did that. So all the things that I do are byproducts of kind of just my general, what's the word? I guess attitude is being kind of joyful and happy. And so it's like, I guess that answers the question to begin with, is that's what fuels our motivation. Is just the nature of who we are, and our attitude towards life, towards family, towards God, towards people. That fuels us, and so it's like, yeah, we are thriving already internally. We're full of life, full of joy. And then from there, we're like, yeah, I want to do this. I want to help this person. I want to help this company. I want to do this for the marketplace.
Yeah.
And so you're exactly. I totally agree. I mean, I'm probably getting a little bit more intense than I should be on this. I mean, sometimes it doesn't happen perfectly like that. I mean, sometimes, yeah, I get negative. I'm pessimistic at times. But I mean, if you look at a grand scale of things, maybe it's like 80-20 or 70-30. More good than the negative.
Yeah. Yeah, really, for sure. I think that translates into sales really well too. Um, because you can correct me on this. I think it translates into sales really well because there's a lot of times you're dealing with people. So I feel sometimes you are either hitting people and trying to convince them of something, right? And then you're hitting people that maybe you might not be trying to convince them, but you're trying to reframe them and show them how much they actually need you. But you're doing it in a way that you're actually looking out for them. I think this kind of what we just talked about previously can translate into sales very well.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, because what I think it bleeds off of us, like when you and I are genuinely happy or excited, and we're being that positive person, when we get into a sales situation or any kind of a service situation, it comes across. It just, your attitude starts to shine off and glow a little bit, and people go, wow, like I just like talking to you. You're very positive. Actually, I had a guy tell me that about you. It was the Good Sign guy, and he was saying, yeah, Daniel's very positive. It's good talking to him and working with him. And so it's like,
Awesome.
little do we know. I'm sorry.
I said, great. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, and so like, but it's good when it comes from somebody else that we're just kind of going about our own business and handling business as usual. And then, honestly, people just notice it and they go, wow, something about working with you I like. And, you do make a difference in my business. And I really appreciate the service you provide. They start to see us differently because we're not just selling a widget. We're not just making a deal. We're actually being helpful and doing things that are innovative and creative to help them out. So I think
Yeah.
innovation and creativity, it comes from that joy and that excitement in life.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's pretty awesome, frankly. I just like how there's so many different angles that you can take things in whatever you're doing. There's so many different things that you can do. And the great thing is most businesses deal with people. So whatever type of strategy you're trying to come up with, I think the underlying layer is always, well, I'm still going to be talking to some woman, or I'm going to be talking to some guy, I'm going to be talking to some whatever business owner or current customer, or whatever. Like you're talking to people, or you're trying to communicate something to people. You're trying to convince someone or show them that they really need your help to get out of the situation. They really need your service. And then being able to also just show them your true colors. Like, I'm actually a really cool guy. I think you'll like working with me. That's a value proposition, I feel like, too.
Mm.
I don't know. It's kind of something to brainstorm on.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, yeah,
well,
totally. Why not?
we gotten people 6-figure results. We got this amazing, that 4 billion views. But and by the way, you'll really like working with me. I'm a really cool guy. Like,
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Because people change people. Ultimately, if we're being influential in the way we are, it's going to influence people, and they might even leave better after talking to us. Like, man, I met with Daniel, I met with James, and it was a great meeting. I learned a lot. I grew as a person, and it was just a good meeting. And so we had someone recently say that to us, right? He sent us an email saying, he learned a lot, he grew a little bit and stuff like that. And so yeah, I think if you leave someone feeling better, whether about themselves or about life in general, you've done your job, and they're going to feel better about it and want to meet with you again. And that's just the bottom line. Sometimes we won't even have to, like, give ourselves that own accolade. We could just, people will say it for us. And I think that's genuine, and that brings life to businesses. And Yeah, I mean, in the same way too, there's plenty of people out there that I've worked with that I've really been impressed by, and so I'll leave comments for them and reviews and encourage them, and so it's kind of a give and take. We give our part as well.
Yeah. It's really, it's powerful stuff. It's powerful stuff. And actually, I mentioned this to you. And again, this is kind of a smorgasbord of topics today, but it's okay. I actually started implementing a morning routine, and I got to tell you, I've been in so many mastermind groups and coaching programs, and kind of my two current coaches tell me this all the time. And what's your morning routine? And I kind of threw it aside all the time because I'm like, I don't need a morning routine. I just get up, I perform, I do my thing, and it works, and I spend time with family. But I started implementing my morning routine like past couple days. And okay, I got to tell you, I've tried this before and I just wasn't into it, but I feel like I've hit a mindset right now where it translates well. So I do find myself in better moods. Like, actually, I do find myself being able to control my moods better too, reactions or being irritable, because of my morning routines. So like, I'll get up at 6 or 6:30, depending, and then I'll spend like an hour just kind of like to myself. So 6:30 to 7, or 6 to 7, or 6:30 to 7:30. I just have coffee, maybe like put some TV on or something, or just whatever I want, just something chill. But I don't even look at my phone. That's the one thing I don't do. Because if I see something like an email or a text, like that's instant stress. So I just don't even look at that. And then from 7:30 to like 8:30, I spend that time like doing breakfast. My kids get up, my wife's up, we kind of hang out. And then 7:30 to 8:30. Wait, did I say that? 7:30 to 8:30 is breakfast and playtime. And then
Right.
8:30 to 9, I'll like go on my computer, look at my phone, check emails out. And then when 9 hits, like my calls start, or like my day starts.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta tell you, I feel like a machine. Like whatever depressing day I had before,
Mm-hmm.
it all goes away. Like I might go, I just
Nice.
lost 10 clients, I just lost 5. Like I don't know how I'm gonna pay my bills, or I'm just thinking of like really like stuff that people dwell on. Usually it's like money
Mhm.
stuff, usually it's like family things, whatever it might be, right?
Right.
That morning routine really helps me like deal with any sort of struggles or anxiety I have about anything. And it just
Mm-hmm.
puts me in the right mindset for the day. I just feel so much more clean in my head.
That's awesome, man. It sounds like you have a program that works for you. That's pretty cool. Um, yeah, I mean, whether we wake up early or later or work later or whatever it is, I mean, as long as we have a routine, I think that we could stick to, it gives us a structure, and man, and especially for the people who work at home, the entrepreneurs who have a home business, and they're not going to an office with other people. It's even more difficult because we have the luxury of just doing whatever we want. We could go and have a snack. We could lay down, we could take a nap. I mean, there's so many things and options, but like we have to choose to stick to this routine, and it's a structure that keeps us stable and also productive. And so that's pretty cool that you have that. And now it's just a matter of sticking to it and keeping it consistent.
Yeah,
um
that's the hard
and I
thing.
think, yeah. And like I think also too, like coupled with like working hard and sticking to a disciplined structure, like also going out and exercising, whether it's going to the gym for half an hour, going for a quick walk. I think it's important for us to do that as well. I live next to a couple of blocks of you know, there's this walk on Victoria Street here, and there's beautiful trees and flowers, and nature's just really nice on that walk. And so we just, I'll go up there for a little bit and go for a walk to the local farmers market or something like that, and take a breather for say 30, 40 minutes, or just go around the block or whatever it is. But I mean, I think like to get refreshed, we shouldn't, sometimes like what I tend to do is, work more to get rejuvenated or strengthened. But then I realize that's not the answer.
Mm.
Sometimes I think, oh, I'll just get this done and I'll feel better about it and I'll work even harder. But sometimes it's no, it's taking a break and going for a walk and then coming back, and everything's a little bit more clear. And so yeah, I don't so yeah, I mean, working harder to do more work sometimes isn't the right answer, I found.
Yeah, it's there's so many different variables, right? Like people are in different situations. People work. There's some people that work super hard. Some people that work less. I mean, it it really just all depends on. I don't think any of that really matters, frankly. I think it's more about where the person is at mentally, um,
Hmm.
in terms of like how satisfied are you right now? And they might go, "Well, I'm not satisfied because I want to make seven figures." Okay, that's different. I just mean like personally. Like if you had nothing, like are you happy with yourself? Are you satisfied? Like are you grateful for things that you do have or whatever? I think that's really the first thing anyone should achieve. And then whatever you're trying to get on top of that, then that's secondary.
Absolutely,
Yeah, you just
absolutely.
seem like yeah, I totally agree with that. I totally believe in that too. But man, what's funny is I was thinking about this. So, you know how they say, I'm going to switch topics real quick. You know how they say, if you don't have a good marketing campaign, then even though you have a good product, you won't sell anything.
Yeah, that the product by itself can't sell itself, kind of thing.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this. Um, if you have a crappy marketing campaign, but you have a really good product and you don't get sales, let's say, I don't think that's necessarily true, honestly, because I think it's true in certain situations. So no matter what type of marketing campaign you run, you still are going to get results between 0 and very few at first. And this results match like businesses that are just starting. You know what I mean? Like e-commerce stores that don't get any sales, no one knows about them. That's just they're not even a business. It's just a store. Then you start a marketing campaign to start driving traffic, finding the audience, building the recurring customers, all that sort of mumbo jumbo, and then you start getting sales. And so the sales are going to go anywhere from 0 to like a minimal amount at first, which is always kind of like that. But if you're like a big company that people know about you and you intentionally run a crappy marketing campaign, but maybe that's the point of the campaign, right? So people look at it and go, "Oh my God, this is horrible." Like, but it's a large company that you recognize and it's kind of funny. That could actually have a positive result potentially. It's and I think the idea behind it is kind of a little bit what we talked about today, which is, hey, by the way, I'm a cool person, right? And so if you try to joke with someone that you just met, you risk them thinking you're kind of a prick, or he's kind of cocky, or he's kind of annoying, right? You risk like them not understanding your personality right off the bat, and then them going, I'm not sure about this guy, right? But if you know the person, they understand you and go, oh yeah, he jokes, oh he's funny, So when you say something a little off color or a little different, you get they understand it, they'll laugh at you, or they'll add to the conversation. You see? And so I think the same thing applies to, you could run an intentionally crappy campaign if you're a larger company that people know about you, you have a big enough reputation, or it's like the relationships there. But with a smaller company where no one knows about them, that could be detrimental because they're putting off the wrong impression, you know?
Yeah, you gotta kind of earn your keep. You can't. The people who've proven themselves and gotten to the point where they could do things like that and be a little bit more carefree in how they do marketing. They've earned their branding, and they've earned their place in the market. So it's like they could slip up and make a few mistakes, but I mean, someone who is like trying to say someone who's first to market or first to do something, and they're new, they're a young company. I mean, people are going to be looking at them, especially if they're new, with like these microscopes, and magnifying lenses, and trying to go, well, do these guys really are do they really worth their salt? Are they legitimate? And so they question and question and question. But so yeah, you have to kind of ask yourself the question, who am I? Like, where am I in the market? Do people even know who I am? What liberties do I have with marketing? And also, what kind of impression am I giving off if I market in a way that's like, I don't know, a little bit more flamboyant than usual or whatever? Am I trying to like stand out? And if I stand out too much, will that hurt me? Those are all really good questions to ask.
Yeah. I love that. I love that idea. If you just watch TV, you can see what I'm talking about. Like, do you see a ton of standard commercials at XYZ Bank? We have your back. We're the best place to invest. Invest at XYZ Bank. Like, there's that stuff. You see a lot of that. And then you see things that are like a little off, which in a way, they're not great commercials per se. They're just like weird and wacky. Like, let me think. What's that company that has Emu Limu?
Oh, um,
What is that? I can't remember. Emu Limu? Washington Mutual, right?
yeah, I can't remember, but yes, I think it was a bank or an insurance company or something.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
something like that. But it's just it's like hysterical. It have this like emu, like it looks like an ostrich.
Mhm.
And there's like his sidekick, which is like this guy with a mustache, and it's like some corny like 70s looking dude. And they have these weird commercials, and it's like they have these little scenario and skits with like this emu or limu, whatever the thing is, and this guy, and they just do stupid stuff together, And it's not really like anything to do with insurance or banking, or it's just like it's like the gecko.
Mhm.
It's like that.
Mhm.
Like, okay, he's a spokesperson. They built this brand around this gecko because it sounds like Geico. It's funny, but they have like
Mhm.
amazing commercials. But um, it's the same thing. Like, they have this weird quirkiness behind it. And
Mhm.
so even if it doesn't really apply, but it fits kind of like, what I'm trying to point out is, what Washington Mutual is, or certain banks or companies. So when they put something goofy out, it can work well. But I think actually, I might contradict myself. I think it could work well for startups too, because I think advertising is changing where people prefer the weird, wacky, funny, comical commercials that are just strange. So it's more about like the content base of it than it is like the product or what it is. Like, people will be just as happy sharing a really wacky, funny commercial with other people. And that's like the product. And Gap, I think, did that. Gap or Old Navy. I can't remember. One of the two. They put that commercial commercial out with a ship my pants.
Okay.
Remember they put, you know what I'm talking about?
No, I haven't seen that one, but yeah, I'm kind of I'm
Okay.
following you.
Yeah. Because you can ship. They had like a shipping thing, so they made this commercial. It's like you can ship your pants, but it sounds like something else, and
Uh,
it was hysterical. I didn't buy any pants from them. I don't like pants from that store, but I was sharing that commercial with everyone because it was so funny, and that was like the product of them in a weird way. So that became extremely popular. Just the commercial. Now, I don't know if their sales increased or not. I have no idea. I assume so because they got so popular. But even if a startup had that commercial, that would be hysterical. But I mean, is that necessarily good marketing or crappy marketing? I'm not sure. I just know that's something that people would like, you know. And I guess that's what makes good versus bad marketing. It's what will people be excited about? What will really resonate with them? And it kind of is less about them knowing if we're a bank or not. But if it's a trade-off. So if you think they'll like a video or something more, but it doesn't explain exactly what you do, like is it worth running that video?
yeah, it's almost like the commercial itself is branding. It stands out just to represent itself, not necessarily a company.
It's like
And
its
it's like,
own
well,
it's like its own
yeah,
product. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, man. I think so. I mean, um, yeah, there's a commercial that like during the Super Bowls are good examples of that. You'll see all kinds of commercials during the Super Bowl and things that you would never really see and that stand out. That, a ton of money go into obviously, and it's like they come across with these cool like these different brands and um, obviously through like stories or through comedy. They're displaying something. I once had a friend who was in one of those commercials, and it was for Career Builders, the job site, and it was during the Super Bowl, and the commercial was all about what would you do to get a new job or whatever it is, and it showed people doing hysterical things like this guy crying on the street, this lady kind of going bonkers in her car, people saying weird things, and just like uh, my friend was a guy crying in the street, and he was just like going like hysterical crying about losing a job or whatever, and he actually won that commercial won like an Emmy,
No way.
for yeah for doing a good job. And so I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. I
Wow.
knew this guy. He was actually one of my uh, he was my agent. I used to act a little bit, back in the day,
No
and
way. What?
yeah. So I would go for auditions and stuff like that for commercials, and it was fun. I loved it. But I mean,
Did
um,
you get any? Did you nail anything?
yeah, I did some stuff. I mean, nothing major because I didn't do it long enough. But I got a few paying jobs, and I had fun
Uh,
just in the industry, kind of auditioning and doing callbacks and all that stuff. Like it was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot. I grew as an actor, even though I didn't do like major jobs. But I mean, I ended up moving too far away when I
uh,
moved to Riverside. Yeah, when I was in Orange County going to auditions in Hollywood, and then like when I moved to Riverside, I was too far to go on these auditions anymore. So I just
mm,
stopped my career then. But
wow.
I've done stuff since then, just more private type jobs here and there,
Yeah.
but like but not like the industry anymore. So but no, it was fun though. I mean, I met some cool people, and yeah, this person was in that commercial, and he was telling me how it went, and he won an Emmy,
Oh my
and I
God.
was just, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's Yeah, I was looking at Toyota Camry commercials. I was in a what's that one market, Fresh and Easy? I'm not sure if they're even in business anymore, but
I don't know. I don't know.
yeah.
That's so
So
funny. Well, commercials are changing for sure. Like, but you mentioned Super Bowl. Like Super Bowl, you know, no one really cares about the products, frankly, in my opinion. I think people care more about just understanding that when they go into Super Bowl and they think about the commercials, I think the mindset's more about competition. I think they're going like, oh man, Coca-Cola, Bud Light, all these guys, they're competing. So I'm excited to see who has the best commercial. I think it's more about that, you know?
oh yeah, for sure, that's true.
Like
Yeah, but I mean,
last year, Bud
yeah.
Light and Coors Light had a feud. Remember? Because
Mhm.
Bud Light bashed Coors. They're like, wait, I'm sorry. What did they say? Oh yeah. Bud Light was like, what did they say? We don't have. They ran a commercial and totally trashed Coors Light, saying that we don't have corn syrup in our beer.
Mhm. Mhm.
And Bud Light sales like exploded, but they bashed them. And then Coors Light came back and was like, did something about requesting an apology
Well,
because
that
it's hurting their,
yeah.
because it was an insult to their contracted farmers that produce the corn to produce their
Uh-huh.
corn syrup.
Oh yeah. Right, right.
Yeah, but like it's a few, like it's a competition that time,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, and that just goes to show that commercials can really be like that. It could capture the audience based off of a couple of ideas, So they don't really look at the brand so much or the company. They just go, man, that's a cool idea or that's a cool concept, and I like that, and I agree with that. And so as soon as you bond with your audience, whether emotionally or pictorially, it's like, oh, they go, oh yeah, I like that. I like that. I resonate. They might not even like beer, but just because that was a cool concept, now they're gonna all of a sudden get a bottle of Bud Light or something.
Yeah, but when I
So
saw that commercial, I was like, oh no. I was like, oh man. They just
yeah,
bashed, you know?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
it like it I mean, I'm not saying we should bash everyone, but it kind of resonated in a lot of people because then now it's like a team thing. They're like, oh man, I wonder what Coors Light's going to say. Wonder what they're going to come back with. You know?
right, right, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, yeah, we could develop storylines. I don't know. Yeah. So I guess like how companies are viewed by the public, especially if you're a young, company and you're just starting out. Um, it's almost like the world is our canvas. It's like we could paint any picture, especially if you're a startup and you're just getting out there, like paint that picture of who you are. And you might reach like the biggest firms out there without even knowing it, because they like your concept, they like your idea, and just don't discount yourself because your creativity and your ability to brand and also your sense of humor can really take you a long ways. That's something that I tell myself every day is like, you know what, don't worry about trying to wow everybody all at once. Just try to impress those few people that you can, and just build that relationship and go from there. And if your goal is to become a large company and to impress a lot of people, then you'll get to that point, but you'll take the necessary steps to get there. So don't think you have to do it all at once, but I mean, just know that as long as you're moving forward every day, your agenda is going forward every day, and you're doing a little bit to get you to your goal, you'll get there. In fact, I mean, now that we're talking about the acting and all that, I remember when I first started off in acting, I was like, well, how do I make it in this industry? It's so competitive and there's so many people. And then I was led to this book. It was called like Act Now, ACT Now, Act Now.
Oh, that's
And
funny.
yeah, and I was like, what's this book? And so I read parts of it, and the thing that I remember the book telling me, it said, for you to achieve your goal, and this is whether it's acting or anything else you do in life, it says do one thing every day to get to that goal. um, and so don't skip a day. Do one thing every day to get to your goal. And I thought, well, that seems pretty simple. So I applied myself. One day I would just memorize lines. The next day I would practice the lines. The next day I would, get into character. The next day, but I didn't skip a day. I did something every day for a while. And before you know it, I'm getting in front of the people I need to get in front of. I'm doing the things that need to be done. And I just felt a lot of confidence coming up. And the whole point of the book is that don't think you have to do major complicated things either. It could just be a simple check off the list type of thing. I bought the book, I shared with a friend or whatever it is. I mean, just it could be a simple thing, like a simple task, but as long as you're taking baby steps to get to your goal, you'll eventually get there. That's kind of the nature of the book.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool. Yeah, like setting big goals can just make you go crazy. Like
Yeah,
imagine if you're like, well, I'm
totally.
gonna write myself a check for $10 million. Cool, great. But just, I mean, it could take a little bit. Maybe do like $1,000 and then 2,000. And then because it can make you go a little, it can make you discouraged, you know?
Yeah, right. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. It could really discourage you. But I like that book. Little goals. I mean, it's kind of like, would you rather get one M&M a day? It's like I'm talking to my 2-year-old. Would you rather get one M&M a day, or would you rather get 30 M&Ms at the end of the month? You know,
Yeah, yeah.
it's kind of something like that. But Act Now, I'm gonna check that out. That's pretty fun. I had no idea you were an actor. That's so fun. I took an acting class one time,
Yeah.
like a Saturday morning acting class, because I'm pretty artistic,
Mm.
musician and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I took this acting class because it was one of the few things I never tried as like an art,
Mhm.
and I liked it. It was fun, but
Mhm.
I think I was too young. I'm not too young. I'm 30 now, and when I did it, I was probably 18 or something, 17, something like that.
Mm.
But maybe I was too young or something. I just didn't click with me. It wasn't my thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
The next thing I gotta try is stand up. I gotta try some stand up. That's the next thing.
Yeah. It's awesome.
I know. I gotta try like every like art form there is.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. Yeah,
Gosh.
man, that's good. You gotta stay creative, keep those ideas going, and get your life going in different directions to like stay like creative. And I don't know the reason why I did the acting was kind of to get out there and get some fresh air and branch out a little bit, and get away from the day to day. And it helped me to be a lot more creative. And what I did was, in the end, was I brought my acting into my work. And so now when so like my sales, I actually use a lot of my acting skills when I do sales. So it's kind of fun how I do that, like kind of getting into character, getting into my emotional frame of mind. I do a lot of those things when I go into my sales meetings now. And it's kind of fun how it helps me.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything you have, you're not trying to learn how to walk again, really. Like everything you have learned in your life up to the point you're at now, those are all tools, that's all knowledge, that's all stuff you have available that you can use. People are a lot more I'm going to add one more thing. But people have a lot more potential than they think. And they have a lot more potential that they're born with. Like you don't have to go to school to unlock this potential. Uh,
Hmm.
we had some like a family, not family, but like a couple we kind of know lives across the street from us. And they, how old was Alexa? She's 2.5 now. She's probably like a year and a half old. It's like a year ago.
Hmm.
They asked, because we're like, hey, you want to come over? We'll like get a blow up pool out. We'll have some fun, whatever. And they came over and they asked us, well, when are you going to put her in preschool? When are you going to start this? We're sending our kids some really expensive place,
Mhm.
And I was thinking like, well, I think we're going to hold off a year. I think we're just going to kind of like do it when she's ready. There's no rush. And I really feel that, depending on when she starts preschool or depending on when she
Mhm.
graduates high school or what college she goes to, if she even goes to college or if
Mhm.
she, whatever it is, even if she dropped out of high school, like none of that are determining factors for anything in a person's life.
Mm.
They still can make a decision to turn their life around or pursue a certain goal, um, or anything.
Yeah,
People already have this in them.
that's true. That's right. We're very resilient.
Yeah, I really really believe that, and this has happened before. I met this one guy who dropped out of high school, I think, and he started working for UPS as this packager. And this was right years and years ago. Like this guy's maybe like 50 something now, but I met him
Mhm.
like 10 years ago. Uh, he eventually became the CEO of some major company, right? And
Oh
then
wow.
then he started this one of the first online stores where you can purchase prescriptions from. I think it's like rxmed.com or something like that. I don't know.
Mhm.
But he's super successful, right? And he
Yeah.
goes golfing and he does all this like successful things that successful people do, I guess. I don't know. And
Yeah.
yeah, but he did all that, and he didn't even go to college. I don't think he finished high school.
Mhm.
He just he already had that in him. He already
There you go,
had that.
man. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah,
So
man. Yeah, that's a good note there. Wow. Yeah, that speaks to a lot of people, I'm sure, that are going, man, I don't have the education. I can't afford the education. But I do have my kind of, school of hard knocks or just my experience in life. That's all valid, man. I mean, I think a lot of people learn their craft even when they're a kid. I mean, whether you're in construction or doing some kind of office work, a lot of our skills we find out. Man, I knew that when I was in the fourth grade or something. It's like we are a product of our upbringing, and whether we got it from our family members or just being in the world, there's some things we just learn. I call them gifts, and we all have our own unique gifts, and so the question is, what are we doing with those? Are we going somewhere and burying those and not putting them to use, or are we really, putting them to use and exercising the gifts that we have? Because I think if we tap into those gifts and go, man, you know what, I'm going to put this to work, it'll create a huge difference. Whether like that guy became a CEO, or whether you start a company, or whether you just do something to help somebody out. I mean, gifts can be used in so many different ways, but the whole point is to use them and not to just bury them. But
yeah, and it's just last thing I'll mention is this final thought I have. It's
yeah.
life, it's not about success though. Right. So if that's your goal, that should stay as a goal, but it's not like the purpose of life really. Like your purpose of life is what you find meaning in. So people have to make money, right? This still has to happen, but it's really more about finding like what clicks with you, right? What what is your meaning in your life that you're doing?
Well said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, man. That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the end, it's not about all the toys we amass, all the houses we have, or anything like that. It's I guess really about who we are as a person. If we're content, if we are grateful, if we are happy with um, what we know and understand,
Yeah.
I would I would rather, I know sometimes, like, with me, like, I can get blinded, like I get blinded by, like, it could be success, it could be the allure of success or something, that blinds me. And then all of a sudden I go, wait, I'm not really the same person anymore. I don't like who I'm becoming. Wait a minute, I got to get a gut check here. Am I really happy? Am I really, motivated for the right reasons? Then I get focused again. I go, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I was a little off there. I got to get back to, why am I doing what I do, and why, and what's motivating me? Am I motivated for something outside of myself, or is it something within myself that's motivating me to do good things? And so it's a gut check every once in a while. And hopefully, all of us can do that from time to time and get back into that right place. But yeah, I think that's a really good point, Daniel.
Yeah. Interesting, huh? Well, hopefully that resonates with some people. So
Yeah, that sounds good. Anything else on your thoughts there, Daniel, or how we feeling about with this podcast? You feel like we're pretty much closing this one out?
I think we're good, man. I think that's everything.
All right. Well, sounds good. Let's have a happy Friday, and for those of you tuning in on a Saturday, a happy Saturday. Well, friends, now that's a wrap. Thank you for joining us today at Peppers and Flowers. We look forward to joining you again next Saturday. Daniel and James signing off.